Hello. Welcome to my very first mentor recap. Unfortunately, I was not able to get an actual recap of the game, so I'm going to be doing it through GoblinSpy's replay feature, but I felt like it was still important to get this done, show some places for improvements for my mentee. This is my first time being a Rebel College mentor. So anyways, just going to go ahead and jump into this. Some of this is going to go rather quick. I'm just going to jump through some turns, but then sort of focus in on places where I really see places for improvement. So let's crack on. Let's see. Okay, so first of all, pop through here, see how we are doing with our setup. So right off the bat, just some notes about the way that GoblinSpy works. We can sort of see who are the little players. So we've got this catcher here and catcher here. They're a little bit smaller than our strength 3, and then clearly our big tree man here. Elfish Tendency, who is my mentee, is Wood Elves, playing the Skids, who are a Dark Elf team. So because I know they're Dark Elves, I want to sort of see when they're setting up where this Witch Elf is. So we've got the Witch Elf there, and then just linemen, blitzers out here. Pretty decent sort of spread defense, but it's got some problems. But what I really note is that we're not exploiting some of the things going on here. So for starters, we're assisting a tree, but not giving it a 3-die assist. So what I would love to have seen is this treeman to have actually been here by himself, likely, or potentially flanked with linemen so that you could get the 3-die. The reason you want to try to give a 3-die for tree is that 3-die is just ever so slightly not as good as a 2D with block. So that really reduces our 1 and 9s when we go to 3 dice. Which is really important. Also, another thing that sort of stood out to me is that we've got a word answer here, which I'm fine with, but we also have a word answer here, which I'm not fine with. One of these two needs to be actually on the LOS and needs to be making a block. You're doing a 0 reroll build, and so that means that you need to be taking advantage of block as often as you can, and so that means that when you're setting up, you definitely want one of your word answers or any of your linemen, once they get block or wrestle, to be in a position where they can punch someone. And then the other one should be either out on the flank like this or behind like this, to be able to do the blitz action. So as we get into it, we see that the kick is going to be halfway deep. I would say that's a good kick for you. The Wood Elves, the Dark Elves aren't super fast, so that ball isn't immediately at risk, which is fantastic for 0 reroll. You also did happen to get the brilliant coaching, so I think you won the brilliant coaching, so you got the reroll. Another fantastic thing. It's kind of hard to see here, but I think we see you use a reroll later. So, all right. Oh, it was a 3-die, so fantastic. I guess you just needed the 1. I'm okay with this as a starting block, but I think it would have been better to have waited on this particular punch. It wasn't super critical for what you're trying to accomplish, and probably what would have been better is to use the War Dancer here with the line elf here. Let's see if we can, basically this line elf there where the treeman is, and then the tree over here, War Dancer punches it away, because in this particular spot you actually had to punch it in a place where it kind of can get back in the way. And then you're using your lineman here to go assist there, which is fine. Blitzing, great. And then this War Dancer running around, I'm not so sure about what's happening here. This screen isn't super great. You either want them all 3 on the same line, and we'll show that in just a bit. You do this punch here, which I think is fine, before you pick up the ball. I'm not super happy with this, or I think this pass was a little too early, and we'll get into that in just a second. The catcher running up here, this is going to become a problem. So in this position, particularly because this is a catcher with strength 2, he's completely exposed. He's not actually protected by the screen at all. And so anyone with block can easily get in there. All they need to do is just remove this assist. And they're going to get a 2-die. They also might want to remove this assist so they can come straight in. But frankly, they have this angle regardless if they just mark this player. So definitely be cautious of that. Had these players just been back 1, yes, you still run the risk of being surfed, but you're running the risk of being surfed right now because the screen isn't actually screening off the player with the ball. So right now we're looking at good opportunity for a 2-die on the ball when the Dark Elves go. So here we see you're making a move. GFI, I don't know that GFI was really necessary. I'm not sure, and I certainly wouldn't have re-rolled it. It sucks that you did 1 in 36 it, but I really would have thought about what is this player needing to do. I think just having them here, if you're just trying to block, but having them there doesn't really help protect the ball unless you were planning on doing 2 GFIs. And if that's the case, that's a lot of dice. This player could have been better served by coming back and trying to screen the thrower, still holding the ball. And then, now you've got 2 catchers on either side that they've got to do something with. They can knock down one and surround the other, but you can still 2-up catch with a lot of players. So you still have a lot of possibilities for potential scoring threats. Of course, you do want to be catching with your catchers because you don't have rerolls. So I think this GFI, trying to get this player here, it would have helped, but that's a lot of dice to worry about that you have to make. And so 1 in 36 is unfortunate, but you actually still would have needed another GFI. And this is still not super safe because you're going to be basing here. It just takes a little bit of work. He's got the players to do it, to actually punch that aside and still get 2D on the ball. So, all right, and so the Dark Elves do their Dark Elf things. The thing to really note here is the Dark Elves are actually moving all of their players without dice first, which is a really great thing. Safe moves first, and then they come straight in because they've marked this player so they can. Witch Elf does it, which is super smart. It is a little bit riskier, but they've got the rerolls to be able to probably take that risk. But Witch Elf makes a lot of sense because now they can surf the ball. And it's going to be 2D the whole way. So ball gets surfed, badly hurt, super fortunate for you. And then this throw in, I don't know, good, bad, indifferent. It could have been worse, to be honest. I know it doesn't really work out well, but had this ball been tossed down here or over here, it would have actually been a lot worse for you. Because in this position, at least they had to score fast. So they then get their Witch Elf safe because they know about the surf. And then, they go and surround the ball because they left some players available to go do so. Get the ball. And now I do like the way that you try to get back to recover. I'm fine with this blitz on the Witch Elf. I think removing the Witch Elf is smart. It's unfortunate that it was just a KO, but it would have been great to get some SPP on the Dancer. But I think that maybe looking at threatening the ball might have been a little bit better because you don't really put a whole lot of threat onto the ball. And I think that your War Dancer still had some movement left. And so at least bringing it back so that it can mark up some players would have been smart. Or screening off some things. Get a punch here, push, dodge away to bring some people back, dodge away to bring some people back. Got super lucky here with a couple dodges out. Got unlucky here with these dodges failing. That's going to happen. You're eventually going to fail. Some relatively easy rolls. That's to be expected as elves. It's just one of those things that happens, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Unfortunate, but at least it happened late in the turn versus early. All right, so I think I would have also, if you're going to be rolling dice, I think potentially looking at maybe marking this guy, particularly on this side, does make it a little, it means the blitz has to happen over here. Something to think about. But, I also don't mind just sort of screening and saying, you've got to score now. So Dark Elves go do some Dark Elfy things. That was a catcher. So goes in blitz, makes tons of sense. Nothing happens. And then runs in, does have to spin a reroll to reroll the GFI. And then makes the touchdown. Early touchdown for them is great. Unfortunate for you. I do think the screen over here is sort of caused that issue. All right, so now we're on to turn 2. We're down a score, so again, need to be aggressive. I like aggressive play from Wood Elves. I think that suits their style. Right here, I'm already seeing an issue. You're wide open right here. And the last thing you want is against elves is to lead, particularly because this lineman's right on the LOS. They've got a lot of freedom to go straight into your backfield. And so if a blitz happens, and a blitz does happen, they're right in. And so I know that you're trying to avoid punches, but I think that the right thing to have done here is to have closed in, marked up each of these individually with linemen. It is your on offense again, so you get to punch first in theory. And you really want to try to make these pieces so in a blitz, he can't move his line of his LOS. In this case, they were able to move almost all of their players during a blitz because the only players they can't move are the ones that are marked, that are in the tackle zone. So we'll see them be able to completely surround you and really take advantage of the fact that they got a blitz. And then they were able to get a player underneath the ball, made the catch, 3 up. So pretty unfortunate, pretty unlucky to get the blitz, but you're also sort of set up to allow them to take maximum advantage of it. From here, it gets really tough. This is a bad spot to be in. I think you do some good plays to try to get it back. One thing I would have definitely done is I would have followed directly instead of just moving some more, but I think maybe you had the movement because I don't see a GFI. But the big one is this. Because this player had already moved and was going to be there, I think the better spot to be is this one, in fact. You may have been thinking about the fact that you wanted to surf them. I think you also have to be cautious of the push play because you already had a box almost made. A push play is definitely available. So you got to be thinking about those boxes. Boxes are bad. And so what you want to make sure is that you're not creating boxes when you're trying to surround a player. So had you moved here, the player would have had a really tough time getting out of this spot. They wouldn't be able to blitz off both players, nor would they be able to blitz off one player to push another player off. So just keep that in mind. Look for boxes when you're on the attack and try to prevent boxes when you're on the defense. So once again, another 1 in 36, which is super unfortunate. Because I think that this piece probably is going to go do something pretty useful. So they come out of the gates punching, getting their pals. They fill in that hole, right? Get some more punches, get some more pals, pull pieces in, looking for a surf over here again should things go badly, and then they wait for their blitz, and then this blitz is just really well done, where they come around, hit one piece. They do get the knockdown, which they needed to make it all work out well. But even without the knockdown and removal, if it's just a knockdown, which on alignment isn't actually all that hard when you're using a blitzer, because that's 50%. That's 3 results on each die, so pretty decent chance that you'll get either the both down, or the defender stumbles, or the attacker, the pals basically. The push play actually is a bit of a success, because he's going to push to there and then get this player off. So now suddenly he's only a 2-up to get the ball safe. But because he was able to get the knockdown, and that allowed him to just go ahead and score. But he had a pretty good shot here because of the push play that was on, to be able to do basically whatever he wanted. He could have, he probably couldn't have delayed anymore, but so just keep that in mind. Watch out for boxes. Look for boxes when you're trying to attack like he was, and then try not to create boxes when you're playing, so that they can't rebox. They can't do push plays on you. So now you're in a bad spot, right? It's 2-0 down. You have had some bad dice, but there is some play that could have improved some of these scenarios as well. So this is how we learn. All right. So we see some KOs fail. So I'm just going to go quickly check. I think that that KO is actually the Wood Elves, the Dark Elf Witch. The ball's going to turn 3. You're setting up. Definitely better for the blitz this turn. You don't leave the gaps. All right. Let's see. It's a super deep kick. Open with the tree. Only get the push. Once again, I still not really liking that you're letting him spread his LOS and not doing anything about it. I know that you're limited on players at this point, but I still think you have enough. Also not super fond of this attempt to push through the center. It's going to be a really tough ask with only one scoring threat. And they've got plenty of players. You pick up the ball, you go ahead and move it really quickly. So I'm not totally against, because I think that getting a pass here, this game is, I can see how you can feel like it's out of reach. But what else can turn a game around? I think that you could have. Anyways, so I don't mind the passes. What I'm saying. Fails. You had to go ahead and use that reroll that you just got. That sucks, but that can happen. And then once again, we're in this situation where we're not actually caging the ball, because we have strength 2 holding the ball, and we have this gap right here. So had this player just moved one more, you could have gotten a legit screen, or better is that before you passed, you moved here and just click on the player to click pass to pass it here, or just do the handoff. I know you're trying to get the vanity pass in, which is fantastic, so that if the MVP falls on them, you can go ahead and level up a dancer. I think that's a really good plan. But this ball isn't safe, right? And Dark Elves are the slowest elves, but that doesn't mean that they're slow. And they've got free players that are easily going to be able to get around and knock that ball free. So they're going ahead and marking so that you don't provide assists, and then they get a blitzer onto the ball. I really, either they're out of rerolls or they're just being very smart. A lot of new players will re-roll this result, hoping for a knockdown. It was really good that they didn't, because they don't have tackle yet, so they would have been chasing 2 results. So dodge does some work a little bit, even though the defender's stumbles wasn't actually rolled. But anyways, worked out for you there. And then they just bring pressure, right? So you're now in a really bad spot. And then opening, you open with a 1 die with a player that does not have block and get oh, wait, I guess you re-rolled into a skull. Oh, that's rough. So then they open up with a 2 die and get the both down result because they're punching with block. So yeah, a little unfortunate. Ball pops out, goes all the way out, and they're getting some more knockdowns, getting some stuns, then able to just go do their own things. They do their own vanity pass here, and able to catch it, do get it. So I know. Take root. All right, so you then try to rush back. Once again, another 1 in 36. Another really super unfortunate thing. So, oof. All right. Oh, did they have a turnover pretty quickly? Yeah, they had their own 1 in 9. They caused an early turnover, or early-ish. You then push back. I like getting the pressure onto the ball. We're able to knock it free, caught it, which is fantastic. Of course, then they come down, punch you, ball's loose, and they fail to pick up, which is great for you because now you're going into halftime at 2-0 versus 3-0. Because a 3-0 game is looking very daunting. And just some end of the turn stuff. It's unfortunate that this didn't work because there actually is a potential play to get this game to 2-1. And then we go into the half. All right, so looks like a pitch invasion happened. Several players getting stunned. Looks like it was just all him. He fails the catch and it bounces to the side, which is fortunate for you because that could have easily bounced, over here and it would have been a touchback. So some push plays. I like the way they push to get another block, try to surround the ball, which is smart. They got their own 1 in 36 on trying to pick up the ball, and the ball bounces to what I would say is a fairly good spot. It's unfortunate you're not able to get the block there, or the box there. So he has some stuns that come out of stun. You open with the 2 die. I think that's the right choice. Then do some marking to be able to then have the war dancer come in and punch away. So now that becomes a 3-up to pick up. So well done. Get the ball off. It is on a catcher, so unfortunately catchers are strength 2, so all they need to do is get one strength 3 player to 2D, and they do go ahead and actually have someone mark, even though it wasn't necessary. They do just get the push, but then are able to surround you, and then you dodge away and score, which is definitely the right thing to do there. So reset, deep. I think you'll notice that they tend to get all of your players marked when they're on offense. That's something I definitely think you might want to start thinking about. I know that your 0 reroll, you're probably looking a little bit more at those could be dodges or blocks that you have to make. I think with blocks, particularly 2Ds, the 1 and 9 can happen, but if you're doing some of those blocks, those line of LOS blocks with block, they're not as dangerous because now you're not talking about a 1 and 9, now you're talking about a 1 and 36. So just keep that in mind. It also helps with a lot of the kickoff events. It looks like they're opening up some screens, weren't able to pick up the ball. Did they waste a reroll on it? Nope. Unfortunately, you're probably not able to really take advantage of that. All right. Oh, that's an unfortunate fall over, but let's think about how we came through here. So you've got this player, movement 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So yeah, so you're not getting, in theory, you could get all the way to here with that catcher if you were willing to do all the GFIs. So I think that a blitz here might have made a lot more sense, because if you clear that, then this becomes a path in which you can actually put a person on the ball. It's going to be easy to clear because it is just a catcher, but I think that that kind of pressure would have been better. Here, you're not really putting great pressure on him. They're still, particularly because this failed, they're still in a good spot to be able to get away from you. All right. Dark Elves doing Dark Elfy things. They pick up, they hand off, they run down, they pass. It fails. So now the ball's loose in your backfield. And you're sort of split between, which is going to happen anytime you sort of put pressure down. You do get an injury here, which is great. You know, having a thrower pick up some SPP is fantastic. Get the blitz, which and you now have the ball. It's not super safe, but you have it. So let's see how they respond. So they immediately go and mark so that they have an assist. And then they come in with the blitzer, 2 die, get very fortunate here, quite frankly, because they were only a PAL works. So that's a little unfortunate for you because you had the ball on blodge, only 6s, get it off. So that's a little unfortunate. They got, I would say, a little lucky there because that is their. All right. And that's a pretty fortunate bounce as well. Not sure where else. I guess it could have bounced here. You could have bounced there and caught. That's still tough. So they just need to clear the 1. All right, so you are able to clear away. There, wait, something happened here. All right, so let's go back. They failed a dodge here. Okay, so their turn ends and the ball is on the ground. You're coming. you are able to get the 1 die to knock him over, and then get the 1 die to push him away, and then fail a 3-up dodge. Without dodge. To try to, I guess, go pick up the ball. Yeah, I think it might have made more sense if this was what you were planning on doing, is to do this first, so that you could have the blitz dodge and pick up the ball, so that you could have the ball back on blodge. They then come back in, push, scatter the ball. I guess he tries to catch. Decent bounce. Now it's just like a scrum for this ball. So it runs around. All right, so it's your turn, and the first thing you are going to do is run down there and fail a GFI. Oof. Oof. So let's try to figure out what you were thinking. I'm guessing you were going to do something with him, with a blitz, and needed to mark someone. I think, even though it would have failed, I think this spot would have been the better spot, so that becomes a 2 die, and unless your plan was to punch this guy. Let's see, if you punch him, you can punch him without having to blitz. You could punch there without having to blitz. All right. Yeah, this is tough. 2 tackle zones, you want to get at least one of them off, right? Because right now it's a 4-up to pick up the ball. We just have to assume a 4-up is going to fail with no rerolls. Just trying to figure out if there is a better play than this, having to roll dice first. Usually you want to try to find things that you have built-in rerolls, or that have no roll to do first. Because that 1 in 6 is going to bite you quite often. Yeah, I'm really curious what your plans were there. It's a tough spot. I mean, let's just be frank, that's a tough spot to be in. And then because it failed, it makes it even tougher, even in hindsight. He comes around, punch, punch, surf, yep. And then has a pretty easy ability to get the 3-1 here. Not much you can do. So it looks like he went for the... oh, no, he did actually do the pass. That's very brave of him. I like it. I guess, it depends on what you want more. Because here, the handoff only gets SPP on 1 player. The pass gets SPP on 2 players. So, sorry, man. That is a rough game. Definitely some places where things could have gone more your way. But there's also some places where, due to positioning, particularly with your catcher, who is strength 2, that you need to keep in mind, you could have improved. I think to me, the big takeaways is making sure that you have one of your war dancers until you have linemen with block or wrestle, one of them on the line of scrimmage, ready to punch something, probably not next to the tree, and then having the tree set up for 3Ds as often as possible, so that you can take advantage of the odds of a 3D being more like a 2D. And then I would oftentimes wait later in the turn to be doing the tree block. You really want to do ball safety. You want to sort of turn order by moving pieces that don't need to roll dice, then making sure that the ball is safe, and then rolling dice in dangerous spots. And there are going to be plenty of turns where, because you're 0 reroll, and if you don't get lucky and get some, that you're going to need to just stand up and take punches as elves. So anyways, sorry I wasn't able to actually look at the real match. Hope this was still helpful for you, and look forward to continuing to mentor you throughout this college season. Anyways, cheers.